Hello, how are you doing? My name's McCuaig. If you don't know me, I'm a newly qualified solicitor working for a large firm in Scotland, and today I'm going to share my top 5 tips, or at least the process that I put in place that helped me get a traineeship at my number one choice firm. There's been a bit of chat on social media recently about careers advice for law students and about how accessible or not that this may be, so I thought I'd throw up a video just sharing the process that I put in place that helped me, and I hope it helps other people. If you do find this advice helpful, I think this is the part where I'm supposed to say please like the video or subscribe or leave a comment or reach out to me on social media or give me some form of validation. In all seriousness, if people find this stuff helpful, then I will do a couple of more videos specifically on applications or maybe on assessment centres or whatever. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Being a law student is quite stressful, isn't it? You've got exams, you've got essays, you've got lectures, you've got tutorials, you've got seminars, you might have practical assessments and moots and things like that, and all the while you have this over-looming concern: I need to find a traineeship, I need to find a traineeship. That's what I experienced when I was at university, and this system helped me worry less about getting a traineeship, and ultimately it was a process that helped me get a traineeship at my number one choice firm. The first tip that I want to share is pretty basic, but it's pretty fundamental, and that is do your research. When you're looking into getting a traineeship, the first thing that you should start to think about is what you can see yourself doing. Now, you don't have to have a fully formed idea of the area of law that you want to go into, but you should start to form an idea as early as possible of the potential areas that you might be interested in. Alongside this, have a think about the type of firm that you can see yourself working for. I know in a competitive job market we can be encouraged to start to just apply to every firm and see whichever one will take you, but as you'll see in a later step, that's not my recommended approach. Think about your values, the type of person that you are, and the type of law firms that reflect those values and where you would fit in. This will pay off when it comes to writing your actual application. The second tip that I want to share with you is basically get organised. So once you've had a think about the types of firms that you would like to work for, make a list of those firms. What I did was I actually just put together a spreadsheet, and I filled out that spreadsheet with the names of the firm, the dates the traineeship applications opened, the dates the traineeship applications closed, whether you had to go via a vacation scheme or not, and the things that stood out to me about that firm. This sounds really basic, but see, once you've got all of that information in one place, save it to your desktop, and then set reminders on your phone or your calendar to remind you to do applications in plenty time. That way you don't have to carry about all this information in your head. It's there where you need it, and you can focus on your studies. I found that was really helpful in reducing the stress levels while I was studying law. Okay, this is probably the single biggest tip to take away from this video. You absolutely have to tailor your applications to the law firm. I remember when I was in law school and I heard these stories about people who would make 50, 60 applications per year. And I used to think that approach is just not for me. I would rather do 5 high quality applications than dozens of copy and paste applications. So please don't just copy and paste the same covering letter and CV to every firm. Trust me, they can tell. Applications themselves are probably too much of a huge topic to cover in this video, but as I said, if people find this video helpful, I'm happy to do another video specifically focusing on applications and how I wrote them. But for now, the tip is make sure you are tailoring the applications to the law firm. That's an absolute must. The next tip that I want to share with you is one which you've probably heard 1,000 times before, and it's a bit of a cliche, but it remains true nonetheless. You need to use rejection as a learning experience. When you're going into one of the most competitive job markets in the UK, you're bound to face rejection at some point. At first, this will be really hard to hear, but after a while, you should be able to go back, reflect on that feedback unemotionally, and try and factor that in to making your next application better. I know of people who were rejected by the same law firm 2 and 3 times, but still, because they wanted to work at that law firm, kept coming back and showing that they'd improved on that application and eventually got traineeships at that law firm. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but every piece of feedback is useful and you should use it to build upon it and improve your next application. And if you can show that you've made that progress and you've taken that feedback on board, recruiters are going to appreciate that. The last thing that I want to share with you is a wee bit cheesy, but it's so important, and it's one of the most important things that helped me get a traineeship at my number one choice firm, and that is be yourself. I think when you're applying to law firms, you can fall into a pattern of believing that you have to be what you think a trainee should be. That approach never worked for me. What I did was I highlighted all the things that made me unique, and that is one of the main reasons I believe that I was successful. So I would pass that on to you. If you're a naturally more outgoing person, you're a more personable person, then get in front of the law firm as soon as you can, get to the recruiting events and speak to them. If you have done charity work or you've been involved in extracurriculars, highlight those, highlight the things that make you different. And if you've got caring responsibilities or you've had to work all the way through law school, then absolutely highlight that. There are loads of transferable skills and it shows a great work ethic. The last thing that I want to say just before I close this video is just keep going. You will hear a ton of chat at law school about people getting traineeships, about people getting into the biggest firms, about people doing hundreds and hundreds of applications. You just have to drown all that noise out. Put in place a process that you believe will work for you. Have faith in that process. Keep working hard, keep reflecting on feedback and keep making applications. That's what worked for me and I hope it works for you too. So those were my top 5, I think, tips for getting a traineeship, or at least the general process that I put in place that helped me get a traineeship. If there are any top tips that you have that you think I've missed, please leave a comment or reach out to me on social media. I would love to hear from you. But for now, good luck with the applications and I'll maybe see you again in another video.